Roy is fishing the dry mayfly on this occasion. He could have chosen to fish the mayfly nymph. The only difference in technique is that with the nymph he would use a slow figure-of-8 retrieve, whilst the dry fly is left virtually static on the surface. Repeated false casts in the air help to dry the fly to keep it floating on the surface. That fly is sitting up nicely. Fish fight hard in such shallow, clear water. The blossom of the whitethorn bush is used by many as an indication of the beginning of the mayfly season. When the blossom first appears, the mayfly season begins. Traditional loch-style fishing has its part to play at mayfly time. Fly fishing from a boat on a drift using a team of 2 or 3 mayfly patterns is the most popular way of fly fishing at this time. Roy prepares to fish loch style in a good Corrib rolling wave. Conditions look perfect, and straight away Roy is into a fish. This one has taken a claret dabbler on the point, tied slim and sleek on a size 8 hook. This is an excellent pattern, imitating the mayfly nymphs heading for the surface. It's particularly good in dull conditions. In bright conditions, he prefers to use a size 8 cock robin instead. On his middle dropper he uses a mayfly emerger pattern, in this case a size 8 gosling pattern. It's very important to play the fish upwind of the boat in these conditions. When the boat is drifting so quickly, it's easy to lose the fish under the boat or get caught around the propeller. The action's fast and furious. Boats all around are into fish. Success in loch-style fishing is very dependent upon an ideal set of conditions. A steady wave, nice cloud cover, good hatch of fly held on the water, and, most important, the right place at the right time.
Next fly is a variant of the French partridge mayfly, which is a very, very common fly of Irish origin for the big western lochs, and this has been scoring particularly well this year. A top dropper fly in a cast of wet flies. Now I'm just tying in a tail here of cock pheasant tail fibres, and the mayfly, as we all know, has 3 tails. It's very unwise to tie in just 3 fibres to represent the tails, because after the first fish you'll probably have 1 tail left or none at all. So it's always best to start off with far more fibres than you actually need. 4 or 5 or 6 is far more useful. And the next thing we tie in is a rib of oval gold tinsel. So we'll just take that from the head, tie it into the tail end. And the body, like many traditional Irish flies, is in natural raffia. So what we do is take out a small strip of raffia and just divide this as a strip. What we want to end up with is a very thin strip of material just on the end. Tie that in at the tail end and bring the silk back to the head and wind up the body, flat body of natural raffia, like so. Tie it in at the head end. Trim that off, and the body hackle is a palmed golden olive, and here I've got 2 colours, which is not traditional but seems to work particularly well at the moment. One slightly more gingery and a slightly longer one which is more olive. So we tie that in at the head end, the first hackle, and with our hackle pliers we'll just palm down the body. That went on clockwise, and we wind our towards the head. Just trim that off. Trim a little bit of the tail end So the next hackle to go on is a slightly longer, slightly more olivey, golden olive. Just build up a fairly chunky hackle here at the head. What you can also do as an option is to put a summer duck substitute before the French partridge goes on. It gives the fly a bit more bulk, which is better for a top dropper fly. And it can also be greased up and used as a dry fly. This feather, the French partridge feather, we strip the flew off the base, hold the tip and pull all the fibres back. What we want to do is to make a little V-shaped stub at the end, and we'll pull that off, pull the fibres forward, then we tie the feather in from that point there, just in there, and what that does, it locks the feather onto the dressing. What we do here is we double the hackle by pulling the fibres back. With the hackle pliers, just go around once and then once again and use up all of the feather. And then we can tie it in and trim off. The last thing to do is just to build up a nice neat head. Finish off with our wood finish tool.
Roy uses the French partridge mayfly greased up on his top dropper. An area of water such as we're now approaching, where we can see the lighter colour of a rocky shallow, is always good at mayfly time. The nymphs tend to hatch off the edges of these shallows, and the trout wait in ambush just on the edge of the darker water. A fish has just boiled at Roy's fly as he was lifting off for the next cast. Well, this one couldn't resist the greased up French partridge and bores deep in front of the boat. The fish is now under control upwind of the boat. Fish have been caught on all three patterns on the leader: the nymph, the emerger and the dry fly. There is always a tinge of regret as the middle of June approaches. Olive hatches have ceased towards the end of May, and now mayfly hatches are becoming patchy and erratic. There will be spasmodic small hatches right up until the middle of August, but the trout seldom seem interested from mid-June onwards. The rest of the year seldom displays that top-of-the-water fishing which was such a feature of the early season, spring duckfly, and the olives and mayfly. Don't be downbeat, however, there's plenty of fishing to come. Join Roy and Paul in the autumn as they ring the changes with the Daphnia feeding trout. Paul ties the patterns for success. Experience some nighttime buzzer fishing and sedge fishing, and see how they tackle those elusive lake grilse.